I got to be honest with you guys, periodically, and if you watch all my videos, you know this, there are videos where I have to talk about the news, but boy, I just don't care. Really don't care, but I kind of care. From the Post-Millennial. National Archives drags heels on release of 5,400 records related to Biden's pseudonyms after June 2022 FOIA request. NARA said they've identified approximately 5,138 email messages, 25 electronic files, and 200 pages of potentially responsive records that must be reviewed before release. Okay, all right, let's slow down. The story is basically that there's like 5,400 emails where Biden was using a fake name so he could conduct business with his son. Well, while he's vice president. Okay, it's really important that you know this happened and is happening. But at what point is it like just redundant? Does it matter? Yeah. Biden's corrupt. The news at 11. You know what I mean? We should talk about this every day. And typically when I get into these moods, I'm like, I get it. We can't let this become normal, where we start to say, we all know Biden's corrupt. We all know he was engaged in illicit business deals. But at this point, it's not news anymore. We can't get to that point. There are a bunch of stories I've covered in the past where this has happened, where it's like, dude, everybody knows. Is anyone going to really care about this? Here we go again. Here's the challenge. For me, it gets boring being like, oh, look, more evidence that we already know Joe Biden is as crooked as can be. And without that shock factor of like a big drop where we lay it all out, it's a slow roll and people just say, I get it. I don't care. And then what happens? I make a video about it. I say, hey, everybody, more evidence that Joe Biden's corrupt. They don't click on it because they're like, I know, man, whatever. So it's a bit depressing. But that being said, here's the news. The Daily Mail reports President Joe Biden may have used pseudonyms in nearly 5,400 emails, electronic records and documents when he was vice president. A bombshell letter from NARA reveals. The trove of communications was confirmed after the Southeastern Legal Foundation filed a Freedom of Information Act for emails connected to aliases allegedly used by Biden, including Robin Ware, Robert L. Peters, and J.R.B. Ware. J.R.B. Ware. Republicans have been demanding the release of the emails they say could show Biden used the names to discuss foreign business with his son and share information on countries where he was doing deals. The White House has insisted Biden was never in business with his son, and vice presidents and high-level government officials often use pseudonyms to prevent being inundated with spam and emails from the public. At the time, the Obama administration dismissed criticism the communications were secret because they were all archived. But the sheer volume of emails raises questions over whether then VP Biden broke the absolute wall he said he maintained between the personal and private and the government. Emails from Hunter's laptop also reveal business partners referred to Biden as the big guy. That's right. What is it? What did it say? Like H will hold 10% for the big guy or something? Oh boy, what's this? Staffers used Biden's other address, Robert L. Peters, at pci.gov to send a message about meeting then Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. Hunter was copied in on that email. Why? Why was Hunter copied on an email where the vice president is talking to a world leader? Very interesting, to say the least. Now, look, I would not be surprised if after all this breaks, they get us all riled up and say, yeah, they're doing business. Information drops that Donald Trump was also conducting business. Yeah, I don't care. The left likes to maintain this narrative that Trump support is all a bunch of cultists. No, Trump gets booed sometimes. You know, Trump says things people don't like sometimes, but people typically like him because he's just a bully. He's their bully. It's like being, you know, the way I described it before is like, imagine being on a playground and there is a schoolyard bully. He's not like the worst guy. He doesn't really pick on everybody, but if you're mean to him, he's mean back. And then you get to stand behind him. So the other kids who are bullying, you got to bully, like you got your own guy. He's like, I'm not going to bully anybody, but he's going to bully back the other bullies. You see what I'm saying? In this instance, if it turns out that Donald Trump is doing business dealings, and I believe he was, already criticized him for that. Yeah, remember when Trump tried to have the G7 at Trump Doral in Florida? He got roasted by everyone, even his own supporters. And then he came out and was like, okay, fine. Now, many of his supporters defended him. There's a fair point to be made. He was saying, if we have this meeting at my golf course, we do it at cost. It saves the government money. Fair, but it also covers expenses to maintain Trump derail. That is, employees will get paid. Trump won't personally profit, but revenue is generated for his business, which can help his business stay afloat. There's personal gain there no matter what. Trump backed down. It's okay, fine, we won't do it. There was also, I believe it was a State Department website in the UK was advertising Trump's golf courses or resorts. Not okay. And there were instances where I believe it was members of the Air Force, I'm not sure, stayed at one of his resorts. Same argument. Trump personally benefits even if it is at cost. Now, there's a fair argument to say he's saving the government money, which is you, the taxpayer. Okay, fair. But he privately benefits, even if it's, just by covering costs. Already criticized Trump for this. The issue with Joe Biden is that he's lying about it every step of the way. And more importantly, when Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor in Ukraine, was investigating Burisma, Hunter Biden and his associates contacted D.C. for help. Joe Biden then flies out, goes to the president and says, if you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the $1 billion. Joe Biden has no authority to withhold congressionally approved loan guarantees. And what does the left say? If Burisma wasn't being investigated by Shokin. Sorry, Shokin says he was. Sworn affidavit, and there's documents of the open investigation. Oh, but they were on hold. Doesn't mean anything. On hold or otherwise. If they were on hold, could it be for procedural reasons? Could it be for evidentiary reasons? I don't care. The investigations were happening. Hunter Biden and his associates made this phone call. Yeah, but it was in line with foreign policy. The president wanted it. The president has no authority to deny or reject congressionally approved loan guarantees. That was the argument the left made over when Donald Trump called Ukraine and said, what's going on with this Biden thing? They impeached Donald Trump for investigating criminal activity carried out by the Bidens. What a world, huh? By all means, criticize Donald Trump. I ain't going to sit here and tell you otherwise. It's fine. I'm talking about Joe Biden. Don't give me any whatabouts. If you could come to me and show me that Donald Trump went to a foreign leader and said, I will block your country's weapons unless you give my son millions of dollars, we got a conversation. But I got bad news for you. When you come and you talk about Abraham Accords, when you talk about Ivanka's copyrights in other countries, private deals I don't like. In fact, I think they're very bad. I get it. It's the family. It's private, but I don't like it. I don't like influence peddling. If you want to claim that, Trump derailed and all that stuff, those are bad things Trump should be criticized for. And I'm not going to defend Trump for doing things I think are bad. But Joe Biden? Yet Joe Biden engaged in a quid pro quo. And that, at the very least, by your own standard, is impeachable. And Donald Trump seeking to investigate that quid pro quo was impeached. That specific reference is hypocrisy, and for which I believe Joe Biden should be impeached. Maybe impeachment isn't the right word. He should retroactively be 14th Amendmented or something for a seditious conspiracy against the United States. Because now, with that evidence, or not even retroactively, now with that evidence, we can see he's sending all of this money to Ukraine, and I'm not convinced it's legitimate. I believe that Joe Biden is likely sending all of this money to Ukraine because he owes them a favor. That's right. Donald Trump wanted dirt. I actually think that Joe Biden only ran because they knew Trump was investigating what was going on with his corrupt deal. Trump saw a video online of Joe Biden bragging about withholding congressionally approved loan guarantees and benefiting his son, and then called them and said, what was this about? Can you investigate this? And for that, they said, impeach him quick. Oh, and he had help from the CIA. He had help from Democrat. They had help from the CIA. They had help from Democrat lawyers to get him removed. So, yeah, perhaps after Shokin's sworn statements and testimony and the evidence we've already collected from all of these reports now, Joe Biden, he's lying the whole time. Perhaps now, not only could we impeach, but after that, we could have criminal charges against this man who engaged in what I would describe as a seditious conspiracy against the United States to subvert the nation's interests for personal gain, leading us into what could become World War III. For that, I believe Joe Biden should be impeached, convicted, then indicted, then criminally convicted, and then imprisoned. But you know what? Fair point. Dude's too old. Put an ankle monitor on him, lock him in his Delaware house, and be done with it. I think this is all abjectly criminal, and it's staring us in the face. But I must confess, At a certain point, I don't know what else there is to be said. We know he's doing it. We know it happens. And then what? I don't know. And then what? That's it. And then what? We're sitting here waiting for the Republicans with all this information coming out to just do something about it. And do they? Well, they're doing a little bit. I want to remain optimistic, but I don't know if I can. Perhaps they're waiting until next year to drop the hammer, have him impeached just before election or something, October surprise. I have no idea. I'm just not all that confident. And all I can say is, once again, we'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.